You know, whereas a mentor can kind of help you stray away from making those mistakes and kind of focus on what's going to bring you money, because you know, if you're an investor, your main goal is to get money and bring home more money and get yourself to you know, a different place in your life so that you're increasing your income and your net worth. And if you're too busy making mistakes that maybe somebody could have helped you to avoid, then that would not, it's not a smart decision. As far as Keller Williams goes, I chose them because I had went on several. As Wendy said, I actually research a lot before I make any decision. Um, Keller Williams has a lot of training, and they have a lot of free training as well. But if the training is horrible, it doesn't matter if it's free. You might, I would be willing to pay for the training that Keller Williams has. The other places that I went to, I won't mention any names, but the other places that I went to, they had a lot of glitz and glamour, and you know, they have little packages and little suitcases that you can, you know, drag around, and you know, it's cute. And however, there's no training. And so I think that I would prefer the training so that I can make enough money to get my own suitcase and my, you know, my own pretty little packages, as opposed to using that as a reason of why you're going with them. So Keller Williams, their team, as far as assisting you with your first deals as well, is awesome. The training that they have is awesome as well. And then they're a very well-known and well-respected company. So you always want to be with the company that's going to back you, especially when you know your worth and you know your company's worth. It kind of gives you the confidence that you need to helping other people. That you know that you have a good team and network.
And the thing is, you know, Keller Williams is great, but like anything else, McDonald's to some people is great, but not all franchises are the same. So not every Keller Williams is as good as the office you're at. And I've been in the industry since, you know, there was only, when franchises first started, like when Century 21 was still the main franchise out there. And I have to say, some of the Keller Williams offices or the agents that I meet are just not taking advantage of the training that's available to them. Now, you chose an office with training, and even with that, you still invest in other trainings. You still do you have any mentors you can mention?
No, not at all. I sure do not.
No mentors. Okay, let's skip that question.
Edit that one out. No, I'm just joking. Wendy has always been my mentor, and that's only because not because she's my mother, because she'll tell you there's certain things that outside of real estate, you know, if I don't agree with something, I'm very vocal. That's how she raised me to be. I just know that I used to manage her office, so I know that she's.
And how old were you then when you managed the office?
I was 16. So, and I managed all three of her offices at 16. So after school, my daily routine was to go ahead and manage her offices. And at 16, that wasn't what I wanted to do. But now at 33, it's definitely something that I feel like was needed. So I appreciate that. It goes a long way. But the reason why I chose Wendy is because in me managing her office, I know that she is, with real estate, you're going to run into a lot of different things. Everything, you know, a lot of different scenarios, a lot of situations. And so I know that she knows, okay, well, this deal can't be worked this way, but maybe we can flip it and do it this way and accomplish this. Or, you know, this customer is this type of customer. So maybe, you know, as opposed to saying it this way, you want to say it this way. I know that she's equipped and she knows how to handle several different situations, even things that would cause another broker or agent to lose the deal. She knows how to pull it back together. And so that's why I chose Wendy, because I know that I'm going to run into those situations. Everybody's not the perfect customer, unfortunately. And some people don't work well together, and that's okay. But when you've already invested, especially as an investor, you really don't have time to waste. So when you've already invested your time and your your time into a deal, you want to make sure that it stays together. And there's several different people that are involved. So now you have several different ways that a deal can possibly fall apart. So you want to choose a mentor that's going to train you to keep those deals together. You're dealing with the loan officer, you're dealing with the customer, you're dealing with yourself. So there's several different people
Title
in the
companies,
mix.
attorneys,
Right, exactly.
yes.
So there's several people in the mix of trying to get this one deal done, which means that there's several ways that somebody can mess up, and not on purpose, but unfortunately people make mistakes. But neither here nor there. You have to be able to keep the end result in mind, which is to make sure that the deal goes through. And I know that Wendy is able to, kind of teach me where not only, how to keep it together, but what I could have done differently to kind of make sure that that situation doesn't happen again, and make sure that I'm able to actually see when that may happen, that I'm able to recognize, okay, well, this is coming along. I need to figure out how I need to fix this thing that I feel like is going to be an issue later on.
And even with all of that, you also invest not only in taking time for the mentorship and all the, with myself, but you also have a lot of training. Hi, Breland. I said this to you earlier, but I wanted to say hi. But you also invest a lot. One of the things that I always say is when you're in your car is the best time to instead of sitting there complaining about the traffic or thinking about the deal that could be going wrong, what do you do in your car now?
In my car, I listen to a lot of motivation speakers. And the reason why I do that, if I'm not playing back Wendy's scripts of success, I'm listening to that, or I'm listening to somebody who's not only going to either be speaking on real estate, but just your mind frame, how you think about things, to staying positive. I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I don't watch a lot of the ratchet television shows, which I used to love. And it's not because I don't love it, but it's because I don't have time for it, and I'm trying to get to a certain place at a certain time, by a certain time. So that's what I'm listening to. I'm not listening to, what club is open that night, or what music, or the top 10 songs. I have YouTube on, and I'm putting on Wendy, Lovejoy, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, Steve Harvey, just different people, Oprah, different people that I know that are going to speak to something that I have on my vision board. So I have about 30 things on my vision board. I also have about 30 affirmations on my mirror. So I'm listening to something that's going to help me accomplish something on that board. It may not be real estate. It might be the fact that I want to purchase well, I guess that's real estate too. It might be the fact of what type of car I want to own, what type of vacations I want to go on, how I want to raise my daughter, what type of daughter I want to be to my mother, what type of sister I want to be to my brothers, what type of wife I want to be to my husband. So with all those things, I'm listening to something that's going to speak to something in me to accomplish something on that board.
And of course, with that, her husband peeps in here and says, yes.
While he holds the baby. So this is the highlight of quitting your job and actually being able to do real estate as well.
And this is the thing, even though most people focus on only the money value of accomplishing your goals as a real estate investor or a real estate agent or a realtor or a broker, there's some stuff that you can't put a value on. You can't put a value on being able to spend time with your daughter in the middle of the day, or to call your husband and say, meet me here during the day. He also has his own business. She has her own business. And I'm always telling people the only way to get financially free is not to believe that you can get 2 jobs or 3 jobs, because now you're using up your 24 hours just being a slave or exchanging your body for dollars. You're never going to get financially free that way. However, if you take this information, Shannon was doing very, very well in collections. But she had a vision that she didn't want to put in the time she was putting in collections, and the stress of getting people to pay bills. And even though she's excellent at that, top producer in her field, number one, like year after year, it was taking away just the time with her daughter.
Yeah, I was actually working from 1 to midnight every day. And so with my mother being in the industry that she's in, she was able to kind of step in and kind of help out with keeping our daughter. And of course my husband, helped out with keeping our daughter as well. But it didn't matter who it was. I wanted to be with my daughter. I didn't want to miss her crawling. I didn't want to miss her first steps. I know how I was raised, and so I wanted to
How
feel,
were you raised?
well, I don't know. Do you know? My mother was able to afford a life for us that a lot of people that we were surrounded by did not have, and it was because of real estate. It was because, so she was always around, but we also had a nanny. We also had, somebody was there. We had a live-in nanny. And a lot of people are not fortunate enough to have that, which is, or some people don't even want that, and that's okay. But for me, that's where I wanted to get to. I didn't want to be like, okay, well, I can't take my daughter to her doctor's appointment because I have to go sit in somebody's chair and make them money. However, what I will say is do it in the right time. Have an exit strategy. Don't just say, wake up tomorrow and say, yeah, I'm going to be an investor. I'm going to go ahead and quit. That's not a smart thing to do, I wouldn't say. And I think Wendy would agree with that, because she's been the one that's always said, okay, well, look, just give it a couple of months. And then, when you have an exit strategy, after I had a couple of deals, then I was able to go ahead
Not
and say,
a couple of deals. After she had some closings, then
right.
you said,
well, yeah, some
had,
closings,
yes.
And not deals, because, deals can easily sometimes fall apart and they don't turn into closings, and that's just the reality of being in the real estate business, just like there's pros and cons of every business. So one thing that I was always taught, before I forget about that, is the more deals you have, the better chances of closings that you have. So you just want to keep going. And it just got to a point to where, thank God, I had 5 plus closings in 1 month, and I was going to work, and I'm sitting there trying to do deals at my desk, and I'm late every day, and everywhere I've gone, I've been a top producer, so I never wanted to have that label as she's late every day, and she's doing things that she's not supposed to be doing, and she's got a computer on her desk when it's a security breach. So it just got to a point where I had to make a decision. And that decision was, okay, it's time. God has given me the signs that this is where I'm supposed to be going. I had major success in the stuff that I was doing. And so it was time for me to start taking the steps to start to live the life that I always saw myself living.
And listen to what she said, though. She had production. So even when agents come to my office in New York, I say to them, don't quit your day job. Have an exit strategy. If you tell me you want to make $10,000 a month, Aria, you're going to be an agent as well. So you need to listen more than you're talking, okay? But the thing is, you want to make sure that you are producing. Shannon has a schedule. She said it was to the point that she had so much business that it was interrupting her day job. If you've got a day job and your real estate is not interrupting it, and you're putting in the time and effort. I was having a conversation with a young man earlier today, and we went over that. I said, if you're putting in X amount of hours and you're not doing any deals, then you're not focusing on the money-making activities. And one thing I will say about Shannon is she will call and say, what do you think? What is your thoughts? And we brainstorm, but she's a go-getter. She's gonna do it. She's gonna make it happen. That is her personality. And so, she just needed to have certain information. I've run into people that have said to me, even when she was taking the real estate class, oh my God, she knew all the answers because she grew up in the industry. However, she still needed an exit strategy for where she was, and we discussed it. We talked about her game plan. Her husband and her discussed certain things, and so she went to work and did everything she had to do. So she's got deals coming. You even heard her, even with her investors. People give her repeat business because when she's doing real estate, she's focused on real estate. I have to say, one of the reasons that I was very thankful that she got into real estate, most people know me from a lot of different places, including being marketing director of Georgia, which means I met a lot of agents in my 2 years in that position. And I have to say, there's a lot of lazy agents out there, or people that are not invested in investing in being mentored. So they do stuff their own way. Shannon is going to follow her broker's instruction. She's going to research and read, and she's going to walk it out. She's not afraid to try a new deal, to work with a new client, to try another way of finding a deal. Whereas some agents will say to me, well, I went on MLS and I didn't find anything. They're not looking for the extra. So this is why it's not only important to have a realtor on your team, but to have a productive realtor. Last but not least, that I want to share with you guys, and I say this all the time, don't be the kind of person or investor that when you're looking to add a team player like a licensed agent, that you go find somebody that just got their license but they're not productive. Because some people say to me, well, I got that person because they're a family member and they have their license. Well, if they're not doing any deals on their own, they're not going to find deals for you unless somebody's mentoring them on how to do it. So one of the things I love about working with Shannon is if I have anything to do with getting a license situation, I'm going to let her handle that part. When you have real estate agents on your team, let them do the real estate agent realtor stuff. And you focus on what the part you do well. So if you're a person that likes to rehab, you focus on having them find you more deals so you can rehab. And then you give them the deal so they can sell it. With that being said, how do you feel about people that say, well, I want to give you all my listings, but if I give you all my listings, you got to do it for $500 or 1%?
No.
And I love that answer.
No. And the reason being is because there's so much that goes into it. And then you have to think about it. I typically speak to people and let them know, like, hey, if I have $5 and this is what you're paying me, number one, Keller Williams is going to take their fee. So that, let's say we take down $2. Then you have the IRS. You got to pay taxes. So then you take down that dollar. Then you have to invest in your training so that you can be a better realtor for, your clients who's hiring you. So now I'm left with $1. So,
let's go party.
Right. So I'm entitled to that $1 unless you'd have me walk away with 25 cents. So I'm saying that to say these are all things that are needed in order for me to be so that you're not walking around saying that you have one of those lazy agents that are not doing what they have to do. It's probably because they're allowing the investors to cut their price down and pay them $500. So then they don't take that property seriously or that client seriously. They do the bare minimum. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not only going to list the properties where I'm supposed to list them, but I'm going to have my team list them in other places. And it's good to have a team. So I then have to pay the people on my team. And
she has a pretty good team, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I do. From everything: loan officer, mentor, broker, rehab, marketing.
She has great marketing
contractors.
Team.
Yes. And everybody is in my family, and I say that I never hide that. Everybody is within my family because we work well together. Being family as well, which means a better situation for our clients. So
And one of the things we do though is everybody stays in their lane.
Right.
Like I'm the coach and mentor. I'm the one who focuses on the marketing. She's the agent. The preferred lender is Anthony. Construction and rehab is Najee. And we add other people to the teams. It's not, but we add as needed. And so again, it's very, very important to have people on your team. But the other thing that's not good about paying your agents like no money is because when she puts the listing on MLS, when you look at listings on MLS, and let's say you have 3 properties, let's say Breland says to you, Shannon, I saw you with Wendy on the live stream and I want you to find me a property. He's also an agent though, but let's say he said, Shannon, you know how to find properties I can't find. Will you find me a property? And you say, oh yes, I came up with 3 of them. And then you look at all 3. They're the exact same property, like the same criteria he's looking for, but he can only get 1 of them. Are you going to and they're all the same price. Then it's not like one is 150. Let's say they're all 100,000, but one investor is paying you 2%. Another one's paying 3%, and another one's only giving you $500. Which one is going to be the one you're going to put the most effort in?
The 3%.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this, for a greater purpose, but anybody who's working is doing it to bring funds home, to take care of to do whatever. They're able to do whatever they wish with their money, but nobody is in any business to not bring a greater amount home. And so if I have an opportunity to, and it's plain as day, everything is the same, and I have an opportunity to make more money, then I'm definitely going to push for the one that I'm making more money. And now if there's different variables and maybe the 2% one is a better fit for my client, then that's a different story. But if everything is the same, then my deciding factor is going to be how much I'm going to get paid.